Yes, sir. We are live now, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay. So, good afternoon, all of you, all the participants of the PhD coursework, Bhakt Kavi Narsi Mehta University, Junagadh, Gujarat. So, from last week, that your university, which have commenced the date to start the PhD coursework for registered PhD research scholar, and according to that, that it is mandatory to fulfill some of the criteria for their PhD. So according to that, every university, those who have the particularly coursework frame where the various content which are mentioned in details. But we know that after completing our masters, that we are having some unit based, paper based, content based learning outcome kind of all the subject wise papers and paper wise unit curriculum content. According to that, some of the content it is also mentioned here in your PhD coursework. As far as the concern, the various unit from the papers, but most of the papers were not in a particularly subject wise we given to research scholar because it is almost be variant in subject condition. So various faculty, various subjects we have, but at a part of a time that some content which are having some basic formulas, some basic structures, some basic requirement which apply all of them. And according to that, that during the research works, many the 6 months exercise for the research progress review, then consider it that this PhD coursework also some review paper, some research papers, research articles, the participation in seminar conferences, presentation in seminar conferences as poster or oral presentation, and with this that appear for your such kind of examination process and some kind of this academic activity in your department for their teaching or maybe guiding or mentoring some research students. These are the basic part where all the research scholars have to involve in it. Most of the students in their masters, if they were aware about the dissertation portion in their syllabus, so almost they have experience of writing a research papers, read a research paper, also reviews, literatures, books, references, etc. And this kind of work that we all of us have to follow. But in a scientific way, any subjects, it's deal with the medical, science, technology, arts, law, commerce, management, linguistics, any other subjects. So most of the part where we have to give our research part as far as the concern with the research articles, review papers or most effective research paper. So somehow that we are always been considered the valuable part of each and every research area, that publication part, that if you are become an author of books, if you are become an author or co-author in book chapters, if you are having such kind of knowledge about this, some writing and drafting elaborative work of your work research as article in newspaper or maybe any kind of the supplements of newspaper, any journal. But according to this, that most of the students want to be going for their research part in the documentary form, in the dissertation form, in report form, in thesis form, or maybe in research paper form. So there are some scientific methods to use for it, some content which are mostly we have to follow. And today we discussed in your this PhD coursework some content about it. So myself, Professor Dr. Bharat Maitre, Professor in Botany from Department of Botany, Bioinformatics and Climate Change Impacts Management, University School of Science, Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. I have more than 30 years experience in academic and research. From last 10 years, I am directly engaged with this PhD dissertation, more than 120 students, MSc dissertation, 3 students MPhil, and 10 students already awarded degree in PhD, and 10 students ongoing in this subject area where I have supervised or guideship. Most of the students have their fellowship programs as SRF, JRF. Then the government KCG, which gives some kind of financial assistance as a SOD scheme, they are involved with it. Every 6 months, so we have research progress report, departmental research committee. But for my students, every 2 months, I have doing the meeting with them and discuss with all my research scholar for their progress. Whatever the last time suggestions or give the work for them, so I reviewed it. Also, if it is in a present form, it is completed. So the new steps or maybe whatever the remaining part of their objectives we look after, and also some content where if it any kind of hurdles or any situations where it is not fulfilled, so I give the particularly suggestions, some supports from my side to fulfill it. But later on, that all the kind of works which are going smoothly. Because I am seriously telling that during your masters, your bachelors, that your staff room, your staff, your problems, your queries, which are solved within the limitations. But here in a research works, this is unlimited. Not I am saying that the boundaries are there, but in the unlimited part, any kind of works, any part that you may go, anything that you can do for your kind of research. So according to that, you have to make the good academician, good researchers for that. Your guide, which look after that, your work which are going on, but if it is in a time being, that you may complete your work timely. But if guide has no time or maybe research scholar has no time to fulfill all these things, so it may be in a late or later condition that it's delayed all the process. But anyhow, that we have to step for the situations, whatever the our semester fees are concerned. If we paid it, then we have to follow it in each and every semester. Our work plan, whatever the objectives and work plan is there, that you have to follow it in a well-being and well manner in particularly time-being situations. So it's help you a lot for fulfill your degree program because each and every research problems it is already with the problems because then in biotechnology part if we are considered, so if you want to give this particularly sample or analyze the data, but if any kind of equipment, if it is not possible to in working condition in your department, so it maybe take a time for that. If you consider that I'm going for the data collection, data sample analyze in different laboratory, so somehow that in some laboratories it's pay high. If it is not affordable for us, that it's become a delayed condition. If we have to collect you some samples from a site, but in a particular, I said that in biological part, each and every living organism, those who live in a real condition or real season in real nature. So if it is not possible to collect it in particular season, like my subject botany, plant science, that we have to collect the flower and fruits too for the analysis. But if it is not in season, so we have to wait for this season for their flowering, fruiting, and etc. So somehow that in a science forum, many conditions that with us to not fulfill in a proper time. But we have to manage it. It is a time management to decide that your works which are being fulfill all the criteria with your research methodology, with your results, with your discussion, conclusion, and all the writing of all this report, paper, thesis in time. Later on, it's our experience that if you are out of the laboratory, if you are out of the system, you are out of this university or research institute, research laboratories area, that it is not like that every day that you come and write all these things. So later on, you have all the data, you have all these results, but anyhow, it become a delayed conditions. So first of all, that all the research scholars, I supposed to say and strongly believe for your encouragement that time management give you the perfect part for complete completion for your degree program. It is must. It is also been noticed that some of the criteria like seminar conferences, presentations, and publication part that it is must that you have to consider. So I hope that you are all aware for the research works. It is a reflection of the science. Generally, this relation between the reflection and science. Research has wider implication on the human society because when you have some research problems, any kind of the research title is set according to your subject problem. You are going for its solutions. But we have to give some emphasis part or maybe some selective words in a sentence for our title. It has always been that. But the main focus on, we said, the central portion of the whole the research area is the basic theme as far as the various objectives. So what you have to consider for it. So these are the part after fulfill all this program, and it is mostly we say if basic to applied research works, it's need a proper training of researchers, not only on basic technical aspect but also in ethical aspects. So you have a high academic position with the doctorate part and the PhD that you have to look for it. Some essential steps which are involved in the research, the selection of the subjects, the field, topic, and specific problem of the research which already you have. Then the general survey of the field if it is being a field kind of condition in a science part to understand the problem of the research. Because when we wrote a title part, two or three sentence title, but not it gives a complete portion about our research. Because that each and every step, the nowadays the technology reveals each and every step towards the finding parts. because now we have some chat GPT, Meta AI, lots of data which are gathered by this science and technology produces devices, equipment like computers and others. So it is all controlled. It is all installed. Each and every day as a historical part, history becomes saved, but also in present and whatever in future. So these are all the saved part in electronic kind of devices. So in a mobile, in a computer, in World Wide Web, that we have all the data each and every day. The new version is there, new software is there, new application is there, new publication is there, new findings are there. In our research area, many universities in national or international forums, they are doing research works. So they publish their papers, they publish their data, and they publish such kind of methodology. So we have to involve in it. We are to aware about it. So to understand the problem of the research, specific survey of the pertinent literature, definition of the problems, including differentiating, defining, and classifying its components. So determining the parameter required to be studied towards the solution of the problem. After all, we are all have research problems and we are ever trying to go for its solutions. The selecting methodology to study the parameter, standardizations, the methodology and testing its suitability for the specific problems. Designing the experiment field study with appropriate statistical background, collecting the data and information, system classification, tabulation, presentation, analysis and interpretation of the collected data, reporting all the above the form the thesis dissertation or paper. So these are the such a point which are involved for its consideration of our work. Some of the review process that most of the students, those who have registered themselves within this 6 months, so maybe in this 6 months part, if they are registered, so mostly the review and references part which are been going on. So the literature reviews is a continuous process because up to the master level program, all the faculty students have a material like PDF in their mobile or computers. Not a single page xeroxed or any hard copy with them. I am not talking about all the research scholar or pass out students, but many of them having a material as e-content. So only selective material they have, they read, they appear in examination, they pass the masters, but now that you are involved with the research activity, you have to deal with some research problems. So maximum number of the literatures which are involved with your topic, you have to review it. It is must. And it is not a 1 day or 2 day or a 1 week program. It is continuous process for it. I completed my PhD in 2006 From 99 to 2006, I go to fieldwork, surveyed, put the thesis, appeared in Viva, notification is there, degree is there. But the till date, that the reviews and grading and also whatever the updatation in my research area, I have to involve. Being an academician or research field, I have. And most of the students, those who are doing PhD, so in future they will too have. So location of about 5 years, pertinent publication, summarizing and recording the content of each publication, comparing and commenting on the merit and weakness of the different elements such as theoretical perspectives, definition, research design, methodology, instrumentation, data analysis, and inferences. These are the main program and main work if it is been regarding with the science-based research part. To achieve a satisfactory review of literature, we have to prepare a bibliography, which is a reading list and a list of works consulted at a different stage of research works. Nowadays, that not only a book, but many edited book of a particularly content where a different kind of the research articles, research papers are there. So subject wise, content wise edited book also been nowadays it is published. It is available. In our era that we have some subject content specified basic science books. But nowadays, each and every part, if you want some kind of this computer related program, computer technology books, that it is also with you. Any kind of chemical, biological, physical, mathematical, statistical, computational work, it's with you. Any kind of tabulization, any kind of this graphical graph, chart that you want to be create, many books and applications are there. So the searching sites, also the e-content, and also that physical copy as a hard bind or soft bind as a book or journals which are nowadays available. So you have to make a list for it. Whatever the good number of the research papers in good journals and whatever the good journals have their number of references, then you have to collect it. Some research ratings. So consulting source material where the authorities like the textbooks, edited volume containing chapters, review article published in a journal, annual reviews. The primary literatures are the original research article published in reputed journals. Reputed journals that accept research article for publication only after it has been critically reviewed and evaluated by a panel of authorities on the subject. Generally, what happened that the many journals which we have, just you going on the www, find out some words where you have to search for, make the research journals for particular subjects. It's give you lots of journals list, but it's our duty to select some journals which are not only the preferable but also the valuable part for our research. Because it's a reputed journal, so the queries are good. It is not like that today that you send the paper and within a month it is published. It may be take a time, minimum 3 months to minimum a year for this, because the real science works, if you are sending for your research paper, so editorial board or maybe some journals experts comments, their suggestions, their fully involvement to know all this content and all your work in the form of queries, not always been queries, but some curiosities, some kind of this your work related exercise they want to know. They want to know the methodology. They want to know the exact results. They want to know the perfection for their work. But nowadays that we are living in the world where the IPR is also there, intellectual property rights. Some of them copyright portion, some kind of this protocol development, some kind of this design work is there, some kind of the research methodology or research works or results which have been finding out during our research. Maybe we are apply for the patenting. So we are not disclose all these things. We are not reveal the all our result, our data to publicize, not disclose it. Because if our university, our research guide or ourselves, those who decide that my work, which are other than, it is a good result for me, it may be in future, it's helpful to society, it is also helpful in the commercial part too for these many industries. So the research scholars is not going for the rebuild all the data, all the work for it. But if some of the data, those who are already patenting, or maybe some of the scientists, those who have a patent for it, or any kind of patent given to our kind of work, so you can easily publish for it. But in a good journal, that after completing your reply, if journal have a sufficient space to publish, so it is within time, otherwise it's give a further time for the publication. If journal has international juries in its review panel, it is described as international. So what happened that if we publish mostly in our nation too, some of the major part of our different state where the offices are there and they publish the international legal journal. But when we are seeing that editorial board, their referees or reviewer panels are being in a national unit. So it's again that word is there international, but it looks like a nationwide journal. But if editorial board which assigned your paper or your work for the consideration for the publication to the international jury, so it is described in international law. The merit of a journal of reputation of journal increase in proportion to its circulation and indexing by abstracting agencies. Because most of the journals, not only the research paper that you have to follow, but you follow the first page, the second page, the last page, the before the last page. That many advertising also there, many kind of this description are there about its subscription and all the terms and condition is there. Editorial board is there, but also that some kind of indexing there, like the Scopus or Web of Science, UGC Catalyst, also BISL number, also DOI, Digital Object Identifiers and all. So you can have some kind of this refer journal for your publication. Generally, the original articles that it is considered, because nowadays, now all the university, like in Gujarat, that 104 universities there, many private university also there. Registered students are more in numbers, which are doing research works in our same area. The numbers are more. So that we have to be going for the selection for this original work and original articles, which is maybe consideration. From department library that we can have some historical part, some histories, major thesis that published in past, college university library, public library including British Council or USIS, personal collection of research field, such services, INSTOC, and these are the all the works where the national or international journals have their own websites. So you can find out about that. Bibliography references are there because in a book or maybe any kind of the text that you've seen in the last page, some different authors' names, some different books' names are being mentioned. This is called bibliography. There are different ways of referencing books, journals, articles, and other documents. So author's surname and initials is there. The name of the article, journals, books are there. The imprint, the place of publication is also there. Somehow, some kind of works, it is useful to add call numbers of book, journal, library where the books, journals are located, a phrase or sentence indicating the content, index card and reference cards. So during your visit in a library or in a place where all the references material in a physical form, if you get it, so these are all the content based in a simple library formalities are there, but it is also in a library methodology that this kind of all the surveys that you have to follow. So the arrangement of the book, arrangement of the each and every author's, arrangement of the thesis, arrangement as far as the subject contained in a catalog. So they have some numbers, indexing numbers for them. So librarians, those who are giving their number, index card and reference cards are also been there. And if any kind of this uh, work with your thesis, because generally what happened that in our era, I said about that before the 2010, mainly that at that time to computational work which are not likely to be used or utilized whatever in today's condition, because we hardly find out some computers in an office or laboratory for our work. We have to oftenly visit some cyber cafe and then we have to work for our the finding the references. But at the time that if we have some kind of references, so we are indicating in our reference catalog a general kind of this reference papers we have where you have to give these particularly numbers where the librarian which are giving out for the references for the books as per as the condition the reference from which book we take whatever the title of it with the author in it. So in our handwriting that we have to follow it and make all the references. So in my thesis minimum 300 the reference card that I prepared by handwriting because each and every part that if you have review or reference that you have to mention in this card about all these references. So these are all the particular reference card that you have to make. But nowadays, that most of the time that in our computer that we are typewriting all those things, or maybe some same reference that we are going for it, cut and paste condition. Literature citation is also been important part because research in any field of study requires information on various aspects from different sources. When writing a research report, it is essential that we acknowledge all sources that provide us information that influenced our experiment, conclusions, or interpretation of the data. Different system of citing references like the name, year, or Harvard system, like Harvard system citation. The Harvard system style uses author date citation in text like this. Here, as per example, the Smith 2020 means 2020, page number 12 argues in reference list, it mentioned that the Smith J in bracket, the year is mentioned. Also, the book title and publisher are there. Also, some research article, journal name, page numbers, or issues numbers, volume numbers are there. So, this is the called the Harvard system citation. The citation order or citation sequence system were the alphabet number system. Because when you are mentioning all the references in your last page or maybe in the end of the paper, it should be in alphabetical order. So whether I say that Smith, as per example, is the surname of the particular author, so I say that Smith is surname, it's right first, then its initial J or JI or JK, whatever it may be. So if any 20 references there, so it's 20 references that you have to mention in an alphabetical order. So whatever the initial of the author's surname, A is in first order, then B and then C. If almost some A options are more, then again the next letter where the in particularly alphabetical order that you have to follow. So I hope that most of this computer data work where you sorting the list by the this data filter that you go for it, you select particularly column, and if you selecting the alphabetical order or increase and decreasing portion, so you filter your data. So it is not easy that you make easy by this selecting this data filter or used by this computer methodology. But in a word that it is make Not you have to cut and paste that. You have to every time follow the alphabetical part to rearrange. But just in the word formula, if it is in a tabulated form, it is in particularly formatting tab, you go for the selection, then in data that you filter it and have a list in alphabetical order. So this is a part of that. Literature citation also consider for our research works in research methodology. Generally the book. So whatever our research work, it is a subject specified work. So according to that, most of the books where you have to refer because frankly I am telling to you because nowadays the maximum numbers of students are not being have read the good number of books or larger number of books. They are read the books by the specific authors only. Some minimum reference books they refer. But in a research area, not the local but national and international level, authors' books you have to follow, you have to read, you have to review it. Thesis. PhD thesis nowadays in a Shodh Ganga in Flipnet that you find out most of the thesis on website you just put your finding words, your university, different university, and you may have the PDF chapters of the thesis. It is very useful to review and refer it because you have an idea about how to write it. Whatever the latest technology which are used in other places too, other universities too. I'm not saying that our university thesis formatting or writing or drafting are not good. We have very good kind of thesis works, formatting and all. But as a timely duration, and whatever the advantage of the advancement nowadays, so day by day it gives new and new collections. In our Ahmedabad, many thesis binders, they provide the thesis copy, a routine, or most even the favorite size of the thesis A4 generally. They give the binders, but nowadays a diary form, a mini thesis. Generally, we can take it with our bag if any kind of references or in an interview that if a heavy weighted thesis or maybe many pages thesis, if you don't want to take it for each and every time for your interview. So a thesis part which are already published and this published thesis you may in the form of the small diary like binding part in the both page. So the portable part of thesis is also available. It may be is also available in CD and e content, but it's required the equipment like computers. Some edited books are also there, many springes elsewhere, and many national international publications which have this edited book, a chapter in edited book. So it is considered that not involved in such a program or such a whole content of the book, but some kind of this edited book, those were chapters from the various part. One chapter, if some research workers from China, research workers from the US, research workers from UK, research workers from India, so they publish chapters in edited book. So we have a different kind of the methodology, their work pattern, their published pattern in a one book. So chapter edited book, it is must been there. Journal articles, because whatever the journals that you have, and these are the journals, if you refer it, so many articles that you are going to read, and also if they have good points, so just make out that this point it may be a part of your thesis too. Article from proceeding of conference and seminar, paper reading conferences, paper that website articles, the forthcoming works and alphabetical chronological articles in reference sections. So these are the part where the review and literature part, which are already ongoing portions if you have. A research report. Generally in the ending part of your thesis, but from my suggestion, that is not like that. That after the completion of your all these problems, finding some results, and after that you are going for the writing part. But it is my suggestion that during your research works, any part or any kind of this field gap, or if you have a sufficient time to write a thesis part, that I believe that you must have to go for it, because from a day beginning that you are going for a review literatures, so almost the second chapter of the thesis review literature, this part you can fulfill in a sufficient time, because at the last moment review and literatures part it's not fulfilled. Each and every day that new references, new uh, list of these references that you have to put. But from the first day, if you're selecting part, it is always there. Also the introduction part, that from your title words that you go for it, you look into various reviews or reference books, and in your own language that you may write the introduction part. Also study area. These are the part where you have to go for. So it is my suggestion that during your PhD work, it may be considered that the writing part is you can continue it. A research report is a document prepared at the end of a scientific research project. Scientific research project, it is presented in a project form, or maybe consider that in thesis form that it may be submit. So components like a title, generally the title which you are selected, name of the authors, where the address, mostly in a research paper that the some of your colleague as a co-author, the same laboratory, the same guide students, you can they're helpful for your work. So it is considered that you may write their name as a co-author. Otherwise, you are author, your guide is also been there. Mostly in some university, that many research guide or research supervisor write their name as a first author. But from my side, that in my university, we are not demanding any kind that our name is the first author. But those who are the research scholar, so they have a chance to go for it because consideration in particularly any kind of the advertisement and as a consider as a point of view that the first of author has 60% of marks and the second author or co-authors have 40% of this mark or point is there. So we strongly believe that a research scholar, those who have maximum benefit from that side, so we prefer that the first authors 60% valued point for the research scholar. So the name of the author and address of the institutions. If from the same institute the students are there, so not to write in a suffix or maybe any kind of this upper portion of this later than 1, 2, 3, not cited that, but only the single affirmative. But if the authors which are from the others institute, others university, because some kind of the collaborative works, or co-authors, those who are help you in a particular your works, but they are not from your university. So it is considered that it is a different university, different college, different research industry or institute. So you give the citation number 1, 2, 3 or that. Then keywords. So generally that the searching words, mostly when I try my best that if I am working on biochemistry, so I feel that my keywords is biochemistry because if anybody, those who are having searching word biochemistry, so my keywords which emphasize my papers on their selection list. So 3 to 5 keywords are there belongs to your title. You have to write abstract. So your work pattern, work kind, or maybe your whole work generally in a comprehensive form that not in all the details, but whatever the heart of your work or whatever the theme portion from your research part that you have to give mostly in half page to full page abstracts are there. Introduction part and all the introductory views as far as your title part, material and method, whatever you are following it. The result after the material method that you may get all the results. You have to give the result in the form of the table, data, chart and graph, and according to that you have to go for the discussion because the chart, material, data which are in a digital form, it is the symbolize of that. But after that, you have to discuss about it, whatever the maximum temperature, whatever the minimum temperature is, in which area that you have a more plant to get, in which area less plant to get. So these are all the discussion part in there. Then conclusion and summary part, because overall the data, whatever the consideration for it, when you go for the comparison part from that you may give the particular conclusion. After last anime hota hai, that you have to go for. Acknowledgement, because whom are helped, because your family members, your own host, university, your department, your laboratory, your co-workers, helping all these staffmen, servicemen from peon level to head level, from vice chancellor level, that if each and every kind of the persons, those who are really help you for your work, directly or indirectly. So it is must that you acknowledge that. And the references that this is the part where you are aware there are many references that you are selected. The clear, concise, and adequately descriptive of the content. It should be catchy enough to grab the attention of the reader. Optimum length, convey the correct meaning, should be capitalized use of complicated grammar and redundancy of words and phrases must be avoided. Desirable to avoid the use of abbreviations, chemical formula, trademark names, etc. in the title and author's address. So these are the part where it is considered for the writing portion. Abstracts. So all research article of a journal carry an abstract. It's about hardly the maximum 250 words. Give salient features of main sections like introductions, material method, research and discussion. Reader would first go through the abstract and then decide to study entire article or not. So from the abstract part, if in this 8 to 10 sentence, if any reader or maybe reviewer, so if they are reading all those things, so then consider that now I have to go for the older paper. So I prefer, preferred to read whole paper and the reflection by this abstract. Introduction, general problems, objectives, hypotheses, 3 to 5 sentences you have to write about, brief description of material which are used, summary of the results, most significant results that you have to mention there, statement of the significance of the results, should not contain any references, tables, etc. in abstract, should be in single paragraph, should be written in past tense and in passive voice, is pertinent to work done, summary is here also. These are the work where you have to follow. Some works which have some keywords in your research paper, research article. So few words used in article, 3 to 4, which will be useful for it in service. Give just below the abstract. So these are the part where you can use as a keywords. Keywords is a very important because you find out very few, but more authentic, highly readable, highly useful, and whatever the consideration, because we are not searching a whole sentence, because as far as the concern with the research part, that we only type the some points or words for searching, so that the keywords in your research papers which are focused, if anybody write about these keywords, your research works, research area, research papers which are having or indicate these words, so in their finding list, that your research article, research papers, or maybe any kind of research finding as an author for you, and they are interested to read your articles, because later on that we discuss why it is needed. So keyword is also important. Introduction, broad background, primary literature, specified problems, sort of orientation, and specific objectives or hypothesis of the investigation. These are the key part of your findings. Material method, the procedure, established form or method conducting a research, method which are orderly arrangement of parts, technique, scientific task is accomplished, and protocol, a plan for medical treatment or for a scientific experiment. So, in a science-based experimental work, it's totally depend on material and methods, because we know that we follow these material and methods whatever been considered in past. In a present formula, all the historical part, all the methodology, all the national, international level, those who have the particularly finding these methods and very useful, being a protocol part that it is must followed, because we are not out of them to give our new find out methods, because if it is not considered by the authentic forum, so we are not use it. But whatever the material and method, those who have a maximum part for the use and utilizations, it is acceptable, then you can go for it. So it is must that the all this material method which has been followed, if you find out, if you are going for such a new protocols, and if in a forum or in patented part, that if it is considered, so it is good for you, because we are all the scientists. We are not saying then in 1980 or 1880 or 1780, if it is there, so only we have to consider it. But if it may be in 2026, if new invention in methods are there, if the world consider your work, world, those who are having that your work which are more easy, more preferable, then it is considered for that. Like that in a medical part, that at the earlier portion, that each and every part that highly that incubated injection are been there, take the bloods and having some reports about the diabetes and all. But nowadays it's very simple. There is a digital formula that it is given in a within a minutes all the result. So whatever then this digital life or digital science technology era, it is considered that the olden kind of the work, olden physical, particularly methods, if you are matched it with in this digital era, and you find out some instrument and equipments, so it is considered for it. So it's take more time. It's for the consideration that it require more time for that. But I'm not saying it is not happen. Anything is possible in this science and technology world. As far as the result part is there, accuracy, brevity, clarity in discussing the result. Because each and every part nowadays, that if we consider that in a soil data, likewise the soil of Junagadh agriculture field. So agriculture university already done all those things, or may be doing and will be do in future for their analyzing or any kind of nutritional portion, any kind of fertility, non-fertility of the soil part two, in deficiency of the soils. So it may not be considered that if they are taking, so nobody can take. So the other agencies too, they going for their work. If they find out some kind of differences in there, so it may be possible because whatever the same date, whatever the same time, whatever the same area, whatever then at that time the climatic condition is there, in which part of this there. So these are the different parts where you may collecting it. So nature's day by day give some changes. Some microorganisms season wise it may be grown in a ground soil. Some kind of crop improvement which helpful for the some kind of nitrogen in soil conditions. So it may be given a differences in that form. So it may be considered, so data may be varies from time to time, from agencies to agency, from equipment to equipment. But it may be considered that after your work or result data, it is most important. So process, summarize and discriminatorily selected data that you from your tabulated data, the graph, diagram, maps, photo print, microphotography, chromatogram are referred as figures and table should be separately. So these are the points it may be needed for all these works. The discussion part is emphasize key findings, their interpretations, sites, tables and figures given under results, compare the results, justify how results have contributed to our knowledge, unexpected result that might have encountered during our investigation, and conclusions should be accompanied with a summary of evidence we have obtained. So discussion part is main part of your any kind of project, any kind of paper, any kind of thesis writing. Because whatever you are done in past, whatever you are doing, go for and what may be in future, it will be doing by the others. So at the consideration part that you have to follow it. Later on the acknowledgement part that the researcher gratitude, provide help during research, head of institute, research guide and supervisor, parent, family member, friends, colleagues, and all the appendixes and references that you have to follow. Nowadays, the big problem about the plagiarism because each and every kind of this writing of research articles, research papers, review papers, books, edited books, any kind of this formation about the work because introductory part, review literature part, material methodology part, references part, these are all the parts where we are not been going to be changed. If it is any method, it is method used by each and every country. We are not having any kind of the different method we use. So methodology is there, review and literature is there. Title, quotation, quote, जो quote करते हैं, these are the different things. So original source and present source. Reproducing material from others, workers, reports, very reference and or own. Paraphrasing material from author report without giving due credit to other author, without citing the source or without obtaining permission. Best way to learn to use our own words, superficial or partial paraphrasing, substitute words other than generic ones with appropriate synonyms, change the voice active to passive and vice versa, altering structures of sentence, reducing the clauses to phrases, modifying the parts of speech, duplicator, copylix, preparator, plasma, this plasmarism checker, Plasmium, BlackScan, BlackTrack, SweatWax, Orcon. These are the software where you can use for plagiarism because it's avoided that minimum up to the 25% or 20%, not more than this, that it is considered for your work. Here are some popular plagiarism software tools. Scribbles, known for its high accuracy in detecting plagiarism. Paperpal offers a free plagiarism check up to the 7,000 words. Copyleaks detects plagiarism, paraphrasing, and AI-generated content with 99% accuracy across 100 plus languages. Qtext offer a free plan with 500 words. Grammarly provides real-time plagiarism feedback. Turnitin, widely used in academia, offers advanced similarity checking and integrates with learning management systems. This too helps researchers and students ensures originality and academic integrity. The tables in your writing part that need for table, use of tabular form, introduction and placement, format of tables, numbering of tables, and box heading. Figures like numbering figures, you have to go for caption for it. Statistical diagram is if it is photograph, micrograph, or line diagrams if you have. Format and typing like margins, paragraph identification, widow or orphan lines, spacing, alignment, hyphenation, fonts, and paginations. These are the format part for your research journal, open access journal, print online, ISSN, publication impact factors, certifications, rapid publication process. These are the part it may be considered. So research journals, if going for the publication, the deputed editorial board is there, reference journals, peer review, catalyst, impact factors which are high, Group 1 journal, UGC criteria, Group 2 journal, Web of Science, Scopus, globally recognized databases there, and language and literature. If there are the H index and I10 index number of publication which are considered for in part. So measuring your research works according to that author impact HI index, J index, and I index is there. We are mostly in the last lecture that we discussed about it, the I10 index, the number of publication with at least 10 citations. Mostly that you aware about some of these tools required for the websites where familiar with your work, familiar and appreciate your work, like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, the Science Space, the Science Direct, LinkedIn, or Seed and Scopus. So just uh, mostly that you have to log in this form and update yourself with the just not the login, but become a member of all these tools for that. Because each and every research articles which are uploaded by you, it deals with within these tools, and it is gives a considers almost a DOI, digital that object identifiers. So your works which are in that. So any kind of the social sites, social supports like LinkedIn or ResearchGate or Science Direct or any others tools that you are communicate, collaborate, or maybe considers to find out some kind of the correlations with your subjects with the others research workers or any academic or research scientist part. So it's give work, your work, maybe have a good consideration, high valued part, good number of citations also being find out from that. So writing the research paper in all case step, choose a topic, narrow down your research question, conduct literature review that understand existing research, define structures, typically embed introduction, methods, results and discussion, and write clearly, focus on clarity, consciousness and citations. So these are the points where you have to will select for your work. To choose a journal for your research papers, match scope, answer your topic fits the journal's focus. Mostly the top scopus journals, if your content is not being favorable or maybe any compared to these particular journals, so they deny to publish it. Check impact factors like quartile, consider the journal's reputation, review submission guidelines like understand formatting and requirement, and consider audience who do you want to reach. Because generally that your works, that mainly the focus part is there, that to whom you have to deal with your work students, research scholars, many universities, international university for the consideration. So according to that you are going to find. So handling queries on your research papers, got a query about your research paper? If it is, so understand the question, clarity the concern with the query, check paper contents and refer to relevant section or data and respond politely. So provide clear, concise answers or point to further resources. Not being high or not being in aggressive mode. But whatever the work you are become being a scientist, you are going for your research works, you have to publish the paper and with politely that you have to engage all this work. So quartile numbers in research papers matrix, if it is an impact factors valued matrix, the four quartile journals Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So top 25 high impact factors numbers are in Q1, 25 to 50 Q2, 50 to 75 Q3 and 75 to 100 is lower impact is Q4. So I hope that is most of the research works being you published in Q1 or Q2 journals, not Q3, Q4. So thank you for consider my point. Whatever I believe in, particularly science-based forum, because my main area is biological science. It's deal with the botany, bioinformatics, climate change, horticulture science, and environment science. So I think that if anybody from your part, so from that big thank you that I stop my sharing, but the particularly persons where I am involved with the research works, I go for it. I am happy to share some of the expertise, not as in a subject title form, but whatever the content related with this PhD program, our research works, and it may be considered for all. So I try my best to give you some content, some topics with you. So Professor Bharat Paitre, always happy to help. If any kind of queries, any kind of regarding your work and any kind of this reference review part, so you may contact me on my Gujarat University website, also in Department of Botany Biology, that you may find out uh, my website, which gives all the details to you, and simply by mail that you may communicate with me. So I consider all the research scholars, so it's the next generation for us and which have good potential to develop our subject, develop the society, develop the field of the area in science and technology, and helpful for the develop or developing our nation too as national and international forum. So with this, particularly this sentences, I myself, Professor Dr. Bharat Maitre, which are highly thankful to the authority, Bhakti Narasimha Mehta University, Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Pratap Singh Chauhan sir, also Parmasar Register, and also IQAC academics and the coordinator that I believe that they give me the chance to talk with you, deliver my content with all of you. So my best wishes and all the best for the research scholars for this PhD program and for further part for the PhD. Thank you again. So
Thank you, Bharat sir. Thank you for your fruitful session today. I truly appreciated the insightful discussion and the valuable perspective you shared. Thank you once again for your time and contribution, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you.